expenditures are necessary from 1st of July. And the Appropriation Act is basically a summary of the budget. And then the president also proceeded to say that there are certain cuts of the budget of roughly about 177, 178 billion. I think it was better if there is a debate about the cuts, so that the president has done his input. Then there is the input of the Gen Zs, and the citizenry of Kenya in terms of also a continuing public participation, so that matter is resolved in a way so that people can say, we want more money, to this, to health, to education. We want more money to the things that people believe. So that is still a gray area even before there's a revisit of the Finance Act. One thing that Omtatah said is Senate has considered the audit reports of the Auditor General from 2020 to 2021. And therefore 2022-23 have not been considered, and now 2023-24 are ready for consideration. 2021-2022, 2022-2023, those are two, and now the third one, which is of this the last financial year, 23-24. And you see, when those are not considered, it means that the
I think
Governor, we've lost your case.
you've lost him again.
Professor,
I think
akiguza tu pesa.
Oh, okay. And now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can, okay. So I am saying, so long as, Senate has to speed up this process of considering the audit reports from the Auditor General, so that we can immediately, first of all, there's nothing pending, and then the counties get the money, which is equal to that is equal to the most recent collection of our taxes, and that strategy has been used actually to deny counties more and more of the money that they should have. I wanted also to say that, even within the Constitution 2010, it was indicated that all laws in Kenya were going to be reviewed, so that those which are not in consonance to the Constitution are dropped. And that is something that has been overlooked. And I think Omtatah was saying, in terms of like having a legal structure that is facilitative of proper governance and this new Kenya that the Gen Zs want. Before that is done, and it hasn't been done, and I think it is deliberate, so that we use a lot of the old laws, so to speak, because even sections of the Public Order Act are still, in the law, and sometimes they are misused. We have never gotten in a proper way the provincial administration or the national administration and the county administration to be in sync, to work in sync. So that is still an issue. And maybe finally, in terms of what was asked about the procurement law, when I had the privilege of serving in Makueni, we decided that we could have open contracting, so that every information about procurement is online, it is permanent, who even the people who are sitting in a committee, the marks that they are giving, the entire works, so that if anybody does wrong, it is apparent. People can question, and all that kind of stuff, so that it is not an impossible thing to do. Because if you have no interest in terms of getting monies from a county, from the national level, then you shouldn't worry that kind of transparency. And it worked very well, because we even now, saved monies because there was real competition. People believed that they could get tenders without bribing and all that kind of stuff. And we were able to use the money to even build things with little money, until when people came to the county, they would say it isn't possible, but it was because of that. So I think that's something to consider, because even in terms of the ESCC, which is the body, isn't corruption and all that kind of stuff. The commissioners themselves don't do most of the work. Most of the work is done by the secretariat. Particularly the CEO is actually the engine of moving ESCC forward. And so until even the commission can have more, of course, after the CEO has, the investigations, and of course they don't have, budget. They try their level best. They don't have a lot of budget. They don't have a lot of employees. They are also but I think the law there needs to be looked at, and even to have a prosecutorial role. I remember, I don't know whether this has been resolved. There was an attempt to have an East African convention on corruption, but I think Uganda and Tanzania and some other countries were saying that Kenya must ensure that its anti-corruption authority has prosecutorial powers, because if that doesn't happen, then the convention will not come into being. But I don't know whether that has been resolved. And of course, ESCC, I think, gives a lot of information about even people who shouldn't vie for positions because of their political or whatever. And the IBC did not disqualify those people. We used to do as public servants. Public servants do wealth declarations every year, and even when they do that, it is secret, and there's no reason why it should be secret. And even this idea of the lifestyle audit, this is an idea which has been mooted for a long time, and it doesn't see light of day. There are things that you do which make it harder, for people, to, like, you declare wealth, it is public, as you ask for positions, and if you can't explain, you are told you can't be, you can't be a leader, you can't continue. But otherwise, it is my wish that this remembrance will continue to really. Saba is, how do we fundamentally change our country so that these Gen Zs and the Alphas and the others to come find a country that works, where the Constitution is implemented. Because if actually we did implement the Constitution, a lot of things that people are saying are going south would not be doing so. But let me again, thank you very much. This remembrance is very critical, and what we will do together in our country, because even these politicians, I think we have to talk to them, so that they appreciate that it is not business as usual, and we together, change our country for the better. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Governor. I think there are some panelists who want to ask you questions before you head to Mass. I will open the floor for that. Guys, let's keep it down to at least 1 or 2 questions. Atmosphere, I'll let you shoot first.
Sorry, Afro, maybe before they start asking, Governor Professor Kivuda, how much time do we have with you and Senator Omtatah? Because I know we are learning a lot from you. Tunapigwa sana huku kwa DMs, tunaambiwa inakuwa monologue, but I think it was important for us to at least hear the rot that Okiyah Omtatah has explained to us. And for me, I would love as much as possible to give people who have questions so that you can answer before you go. And then we really need to open the mic. Afrocentric, I think you've said this before. Hii ni sauti ya mwananchi na mwananchi anafaa kusikika. We really thank all the people who are here. I think we still have almost 5,000 people still online. Professor and Okiyah.
And I think Professor should, since he indicated he wanted to leave, we should give Professor the chance.
So how do we have time with you, Okiyah? And Professor, how much time do we have with you?
Yeah, available. So let us give Professor a chance. And it's very important to listen to Professor because he's been around longer than I've been. He's been an exemplary public leader, and he has been a governor. And he's also a professor of law. He's not just a professor of anything else. He's a professor of law. So when we talk about rule of law, he's the guy to guide us.
Correct. Yeye ni
So
walimu hawa nini what are lawyers called? Mwalimu wa lawyer.
yeah. So let him go, have the go. And me, I'm around. As I said, I'll go for my mass at 5 at the Holy Family Basilica. So
Asante. Professor, how much time do we have with you?
I wanted to go. I want to go away by 1 because my mass is 1:30.
Hour. So over to you. We have 20 minutes with.
Email. All right. Atmosphere, mic is yours.
Thank you very much, Afro, for this chance. Good morning, good afternoon from wherever in the world you are. So mine is to ask Professor Daktari Mr. Kibwana. Well, maybe most of the people here don't know you've been around since the Moi era. And this is when Saba people used to go and protest in the streets. And you have an impeccable record in leadership. You've been governor. I was particularly very interested in seeing how you ran Makueni County with people, with the people behind you. Meaning, you had this style of tendering where public participation was in the forefront of everything, and you would actually pay the people who had tendered when everyone from the public is satisfied that the projects were good. And that time was an interesting time because we will see other governors come to benchmark in Makueni, which is a very impeccable record. You are also Minister of Environment during Kibaki's time, and I've been following you for quite some time. So my question is, these current governors, what do you think is the biggest problem? Don't they have proper advice? Are they just greedy, or they don't have plans for their counties? That's the first question. The second question is the region, the eastern region, where we have perennial water problems. And then recently we saw very interesting times when floods were experienced. What would you advise that the people who are currently leaders in that region should do about the water situation? I'm particularly not from that region, but it's something I would like to hear what you think about it. Thank you.
Afro, Cedric, am I supposed to answer each question or after a few?
Oh, let's take. Let me take a couple of more. Let's see. Hannah, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much, Afro. Professor, thank you for joining us. And the senator went on telling us a lot of things that actually only brought to light that this system is not working. If him as a senator cannot get documentation from a governor and he has to go to court and he still cannot get those documents to prove wrongdoings in his area, then you can imagine what a normal person, as a local citizen, and how much tight his hands are. This is further proof that this system is not working. But he's actually told us a lot of things that are not right. The public lands that are taken or are sold illegally to people, and so the place he was talking about was a border city that till the airport is no longer in the hands of the local authority. So him in that kind of position and facing all these issues, court cases, trying to go to court to obtain public information that would to correct the wrongdoings or to prove the wrongdoings. He also mentioned about public participation, that he got documents of tenders that then the court refused for him to use those as evidence. So this proves that this system is not working. It's not the people, it's the system that is allowing the looting, the system that is allowing the corruption, and the barriers that are put for the person who wants to prove the wrongdoings, rather than make it easier for the person who wants to prove the wrongdoings. I'm coming back to you, Professor, because for a reason I asked him about the whistleblowing. And without the whistleblowers, then we are none the wiser, unless you're in the same system and like Omtatah, and you find out things are wrong. But if you're in a public domain, it's really difficult. So what I wanted to ask you is, because he mentioned about protect